Welcome back. All right, so we got 10 games in the books tonight. Things are getting crazy, and playoff races are doing what they do, and things have changed. And again, I did a video just yesterday on the Western Conference race. I think I'll be able to do a new one every week because things are going to change that quickly. But the East could see some movement in terms of who plays who, even though we already know the 8 that are going to make it and the 8 that won't. Let's go ahead and jump in with a game changer. The Boston Bruins at home to the Tampa Bay Lightning. It's Vasilevsky versus Swayman in this. Swayman was tested early. There's a power play for the Bruins. It's a 4-minute power play. It was killed off with 4 seconds left in it. Boston takes a penalty, so there's a little bit of 4-on-4. The Bolts get a power play. That gets killed off as well. McAvoy is a blast go wide. There's a near miss for Marchand. The shots are 4-1 at the half in favor of Tampa. And then the Bruins start getting momentum and they start getting shots. There's a power play for Boston. Coyle has a net feed that's defended. That's killed off after the first period. This game was scoreless. Second period. Bruins had the early jump. The Bolts are shot blocking. The Bruins get themselves a power play. During that power play, Hagel scores shorthanded from Palat at 7 minutes and 11 seconds. So the Bruins kill the rest. And that was the only shot Tampa had for a while. Lazar's denied shortly after that. And then Pastrnak ties it from Haula and Lindholm at 9:55. So Hampus Lindholm fitting right in. His first game in Boston was a big hit. The shots are 15-1 for the Bruins with 8.5 minutes left. The problem being that one shot for Tampa went in the net. Chernak has a blast go wide. Cirelli has a rush chance. That draws a power play. We end up with 2 minutes of 4-on-4. After that, we had a Bolts 4-on-3, becomes a 5-on-4. Stamkos is denied in the closing seconds. So to start the third period, Tampa Bay's got a 47-second power play. That's killed off. The Bruins get a power play. That's killed off. Lots of power plays at that stage of the game. And then Stamkos puts Tampa in the lead from point and Kucherov at 3:51. And the shots were 3-1 in Tampa's favor at 8 minutes. So it looked like Tampa might come out of Boston with 2 points tonight until at 8:17 it's Pastrnak from Haula. So Pastrnak ties it up. We get 2 minutes of 4-on-4. Kucherov would have a turnover chance that was saved. The Bolts press with 5.5 minutes left, but with 4 minutes and 10 seconds left, it's Boston that gets the lead. It's Pastrnak completing the hat trick, his 12th in his career, from Hall and Haula. So Haula with 3 helpers tonight, Lindholm with a helper, Hall with a helper, and Pastrnak with all 3 goals for Boston. Goalies pulled with 56.4 seconds left. Tampa Bay calls a timeout with the 6-on-5 going on. But the Bruins hold the lead, which is kind of news comparatively speaking with some of their recent games. But the Bruins hold the lead. They win this one 3-2. They go to 40, 19, and 5. They move 1 point ahead of Tampa. Tampa's 39, 18, and 6. Tampa Bay right now is a wild card. So just imagine winning your division, and your reward is playing Tampa in the first round. The 3 stars in this one were all Boston. I don't necessarily agree with that. I probably would have given Stamkos a star. But anyways, Pastrnak, Haula, and Lindholm are your 3 stars. The shots favor Boston 12-8 in the first, 17-6 in the second. Both teams had 10 shots in the third. Final shots 39-24 Boston. Power plays Tampa Bay 0-3. Boston 0-5. The hits 29-26 for Boston. Vasilevsky saves 36 out of 39. Swayman saves 22 out of 24. Both goaltenders played very well, but again, Jeremy Swayman's record at home is fantastic. And for Boston, they're up to 85 points now. They're rolling. And they might have visions of catching up to the first place team in the division. It's not going to happen, but they might have visions of it. That first place team is Florida. Florida, I'm sure, would be very happy to see what happened tonight with Tampa. Although, again, if Boston or Florida was to end up finishing with the number 1 seed in the East and their reward was playing Tampa in the first round, they might demand a recount. So it's Knight versus Allen in this one, and a very early power play for the Habs, and they score on it. It's Suzuki from Caulfield and Wideman at 29 seconds. So Caulfield's on the board with an assist, Suzuki with a goal, and then 7 seconds later, it's Barkov from Hague and Giroux at 36 seconds. So Hague and Giroux, first game as a Florida Panther for both players, and they're on the board within the first minute of their first game. That was on a rush. The Panthers then press. We get a power play for the Panthers. That's killed off. Caulfield has a rush chance that's saved. Hornquist with a net drive. That draws a crowd because that's what Hornquist does. Power play for the Panthers. That's killed off. Armia was robbed with 2 minutes and 20 seconds left. Barkov with a net drive. That's saved and held. But after 2 goals in the first 36 seconds, we don't have any scoring the rest of the period. So it's 1-1 entering the second. Doesn't stay that way. At 1 minute and 12 second, Marchment adds a goal to make it 2-1. Panthers press for more. Caulfield fires high on a break. And then at 5:59, Jake Evans ties it. From Romanov and Hoffman, it does not stay tied for long. Florida gets the lead as Duclair from Sherratt and Huberdeau at 7:06. So that makes it 3-2. And again, started looking like we might get a lot of goals in this game. Panthers press at the half. The Habs get a power play. Becomes a 4-on-4. That's killed off. There's power press by the Panthers. Montour ends up hitting the post. Then there's a delay game call. The Habs get a power play, which rolls over into the third, but it's only 15 seconds worth. So the Panthers finish that kill off. The Habs go back to the power play. Near miss for Caulfield on that one. That power play is killed off. Panthers then get their own power play, and they score on this one. So it's Reinhart from Huberdeau and Giroux at 7:20. Claude Giroux with 2 assists in his first game in Florida. The goalie gets pulled with more than 4 minutes left, and 6-on-5, Montreal scores. It's Byron from Dvorak and Armia at 16 minutes and 20 seconds. So that makes it closer. The Habs get a power play, but while they had their opportunities in the end, your winner is Florida 4-3. They go to 43, 14, and 6 with the win. Montreal drops to 17, 37, and 10 with the loss. Your 3 stars are Huberdeau, Giroux, and Allen. Jake Allen's one of the 3 stars. The shots in this one, 15-7 Florida in the first, 16-14 Florida in the second, 11-10 Florida in the third. Final shots, 42-31 for the Panthers. Power plays, Florida 1 for 6, Montreal 1 for 5. The hits, 26-20 for Montreal. Spencer Knight saves 28 out of 31. Another good night for him. And Allen saves 38 out of 42 in what was a solid effort for him as well. So pretty good goaltending, but it ends up paling in comparison with Scott Wedgwood. So I like this trade when it took place. I like what Wedgwood was doing in Arizona. This is one of those reasons I'm glad that I do have the channel and I'm able to watch as much hockey as I do. Because Wedgwood hits the ground running in Dallas. He was up against Freddie Anderson. The shots are 6-0 Carolina at 3 minutes. So Wedgwood, it was trial by fire, and his mask looks fantastic, speaking of fire. Stars net crash, Anderson holds on that. Great first 5 minutes for Wedgwood. 7.5 minutes into this game, the shots are 12-3 for Carolina. So it's all Carolina. The zone time was over double in favor of Carolina as well. It was not pretty. Power play then for the Stars. The Canes shot blocking. They kill it off. I think there was 1 shot on it. The Stars go over 11 minutes without a shot. Nino gets dropped on a shot, and things get kind of scrummy after that. But yeah, so we go to the second period scoreless. 30 seconds in, though, Jamie Benn. He scores from Radulov and Klingberg. And if Dallas is going to make the playoffs, they need Benn, they need Radulov, they need Sagan to really amp up their game. Because we already know that their top line is working. If both lines get going, they're in good shape. Shots, though, are 3-1 for the Canes at 3.5 minutes. Pesci is hit by Nemesnikov, and Pesci doesn't appreciate it. Felt there was an elbow in there, so they have it out. But we end up with Niederreiter scoring from Shea at 6:44, which is after all that's cleared up. And so that ties up the game. Stars press, they're kept to the outside. The shots, 12-5 for the Canes with 8 minutes left. So again, Carolina's dominating, but the score is 1-1 because Scott Wedgwood's standing on his head. Yeah, the zone time's all Carolina. Radulov with a turnover, but the Stars recover. Last minute, the Stars get a power play. So they end up with 46 seconds of power play time to start the third period. That's killed off. And it was funny to me because all 3 of the early games had power plays that rolled over into the third period. But the Canes get a power play after they kill the Dallas one, and Trocheck scores to put them ahead from Aho and Teravainen at 2:43. So I'm assuming, you know what? Dallas hasn't had very many opportunities. They haven't had very many shots. They've done their best tonight. You can't win them all. However, a minute later, it's Rope Hintz on what was a great pass from Pavelski. Fantastic goal. Robertson with the secondary assist at 3:43. And it was just pretty. And that ties the game up. Canes get another power play. There's a near miss for Aho. It's killed off, but right after it ends, Nino Niederreiter scores the second of the game from Shea and Kotkaniemi at 10:24. But again, 59 seconds later, so almost exactly the same thing happens. It's Hintz, this time from Robertson and Pavelski. So not quite the same scoring combination, but it's the same thing. It's just If you need a goal to answer and you're Rick Bowness, you just put the hints line on the ice and you're going to get it. Great three-way pass on that one. Raffle then had a penalty shot awarded to him. That saved. So we go to overtime with the score 3-3. And honestly, looking at the shots, I was kind of embarrassed that this game goes to overtime because Dallas had no business being in overtime in this one. So the Stars win the faceoff. That's about all they won. Lindell to Robertson, that's blocked. The Canes set up. There's a near miss by Trocheck. Jarvis with the net drive, that saved. Trocheck misses. The Canes keep the puck, though. Stars had a 2-on-1. That's broken up. Aho's then robbed. Jarvis was robbed. Stars win a faceoff, and with 34.3 seconds left, the Stars get a power play. The overtime power play, unsuccessful, doesn't even generate a shot. So we go to the shootout. In the shootout, Tyler Seguin with the winner. So Dallas steals a game in Carolina thanks to Scott Wedgwood, 4-3. They go to 36-24-3 and greatly improve their chances of making the playoffs. Carolina 42-15-7 with the shootout loss. Your three stars are Wedgwood, Wedgwood, and Wedgwood. They should be. They're not. They're Wedgwood, Hintz, and Niederreiter. The shots in this one, 18-4, Carolina in the first. 16-5, Carolina in the second. And 9-6, Carolina in the third. And in the overtime, 4-0 for Carolina. Final shots are 47-15 for the team that ultimately loses the game. Power plays, Dallas 0-3, Carolina 1-2. They won the special teams battle as well. The hits are 31-24 for Dallas because they never had the puck. Wedgwood, 44 saves on 47 shots. It sets a team record for a goaltender debuting with Dallas. Jake Ottinger has to be pretty happy right now. He knows he's got a battery mate that can go in there and play. And for Holtby, now you kind of look at this and think, you know what? I can take my time and come back if I'm ready to. Anderson saved 12 out of 15. I felt bad for him because 2 of these goals are from Hintz. I don't know what he was going to do on those. And the Jamie Benn goal, and it's like when Dallas got an opportunity, it was a pretty darn good one. And there were so many good opportunities for Carolina, and Wedgwood stood on his head. So absolutely fantastic game for Dallas, or should I just say for the Wedgwoods tonight. All right, Detroit in against the New York Islanders. So again, there were a lot of games on tonight. This is a game featuring 2 non-playoff teams, so I watched some of the game, but this was the one that I had to track the least because A, not playoff teams, and B, there really wasn't any tension to this. So it's Grace versus Sorokin. Beauvillier scores from Lee at 9 seconds. Wings try to answer. The shots are 2 apiece at 5 minutes. Good first half for the Wings, mostly, just except for the fact that they're down 1-0. There's a near miss for Matt Martin. The Islanders press with 8 minutes left. Eventually get a second goal. It's Wahlstrom from Barzal and Pelech at 16:07. The Wings get a power play. It becomes a 5-on-3. Larkin's denied, and that penalty kill comes through for the New York Islanders. So you go to the second period with a 2-0. Sorokin's tested early. The Islanders press at 5 minutes. Wahlstrom can't bury one on a rush. The shots are 6-3 for the Wings, though, at the half. The Islanders get a power play, and they score on it. It's Nelson scoring his first goal of the game to this point from Lee and Barzal at 11:39. Barzal's passing has been next level the last little while here. And he wired it glove side, so it's 3-0 at that point. We're going into the third period. Early in the third, Bailey takes any tension that might have been left in this game out of it. From Palmieri and Pajot at 1:19. At 4.5 minutes, the shots are 4-2 in favor of the Wings. But again, the puck's going in the net. And even though it's Nedeljkovic, your luck doesn't really change if you're Detroit. Now, Suter does break the shutout from Hronek at 13:25. I've got Suter there with the assist as well. It was Hronek and Bertuzzi. Bertuzzi had the secondary assist on that one. So that at least gets them on the board, but less than a minute later, Nelson adds the second goal for him from Beauvillier at 14:07, and then Gagne makes it 5-2 from Vrana at 15:18. That's as close as Detroit's going to get. They lose this one 5-2. New York moves to 3 games above NHL 500. I think this is the first time this year that's happened. They're 28-25-9. Detroit 26-31-7 with the loss. Your 3 stars in this one, Lee, Nelson, and Sorokin. Your shots, 13-5 Detroit in the first, 13-11 Detroit in the second, 13-10 Detroit in the third. 13 shots in every period. Final shots, 39-26 Detroit. Power plays, 0-3 for the Wings, 1-1 for the Islanders. Hits, 21-20 for Detroit. Greiss saves 13 out of 16. Nedeljkovic takes over in the third, saves 8 out of 10. Sorokin saves 37 out of 39. So, excellent night for Sorokin. And again, the Islanders are showing what they need to show for next season, I guess. So, if you're an optimist and you believe that what we're seeing right now is going to be the real Islanders next year, they could be in for a big bounce back next season. All right, moving along. Ottawa in against the Winnipeg Jets. So the Winnipeg Jets came through with a huge victory in their last game. Huge victory, and it looked like, Winnipeg's kind of rolling, and then they trip over themselves tonight. And this is one of those games they have to keep winning. And this is where it gets really tough. You can win 4 games in a row, get close to the playoffs, lose 2, and suddenly your playoff dreams are over. For Winnipeg, they cannot afford to lose the next game against Columbus. And Columbus is coming in playing pretty well. So they have to win the next game. Absolutely have to. So it's Forsberg versus Hellebuck. The early chances are for the Sens. The shots are 3 apiece, though, at 7.5 minutes. Winnipeg would open the scoring. It's Morrissey from Scheifele and Wheeler at 8:38. Brown then had a net feed that was blocked, and I realized while I was watching this game, hey, Josh Brown's gone. I don't have to worry about specifying it's Connor Brown, because Josh Brown's gone. It's just Brown now. So he had a net feed that's blocked, but before the period's out at 14:03, it's Tkachuk from Zub and Norris that ties up the game. Winnipeg comes out of that first period having played pretty well, and then it just falls apart after that. Brown with a net feed is cleared in the second period. Sens press at 5 minutes. There's a near miss for Josh Norris at the net. Sens score, but the puck goes in after the whistle, so it's no goal. Shots are 6-2 for Ottawa at 8.5 minutes. Zaitsev blasts one wide. Hellebuck robs White. But the storyline coming out of that second period is Ottawa's starting to take over this game, and it continued in the third. Jets have a 3-on-2 that's broken up. Joseph has a chance that goes wide. Shots are 4-3 for the Jets at 5 minutes, but it definitely turns from there. Ehlers and Delzato getting kind of unfriendly. Svechnikov can't bury one, and then Ennis does. He scores to break the tie from Joseph at 12:25. So I think that's Matthew Joseph's first point as a Senator. I think so. Power play for the Sens with 6:44 left. White would score on that from Stützle and Brandstrom at 14:41. So the power play for Ottawa, it's the first power play given in the game. The announcers weren't necessarily that happy with the penalty that was given out there, but you got to get the kill if you're Winnipeg, and they just don't get it. And then Brown scores from Stützle and Delzato on a 3-on-1 at 15:40. So Winnipeg trying to, cheat and push everybody forward, and that just opens things up for Ottawa to get a bigger lead. So they pull the goaltender with 4 minutes left, and that allows Connor to get his 40th of the season from Dubois and Scheifele at 17:06. But when they pull the goaltender again, that allows Ottawa to get their 4th goal of the third period. It is Tkachuk from Delzato at 18:44. So Michael Delzato gets called up. He gets on the scoreboard with a couple of assists, and Ottawa ends up winning 5-2. They go to 23-36-5 with the win. Winnipeg 30-25-10 with the loss, and it hurts. Combined with the out-of-town scoreboard things that took place tonight, it really hurts Winnipeg's chances. Your 3 stars are Ennis, Stützle, and Tkachuk, or EST. I don't know if they meant that, but if you're a WWE fan, right? EST. Shots, 11-8 Winnipeg in the first period. 11-7 Ottawa in the second. 14-6 Ottawa in the third. Final shots, 33-24 for the Sens. The Sens had the only power play in the game, just the one. They scored on it. Your hits, 28-26 for Ottawa. Forsberg saves 22 out of 24. Continues his good play. Hellebuck saves 28 out of 32. Everything that went right for Winnipeg in their last game seemed to go wrong in this one. Now they've got to pick themselves up. They've got Columbus and Arizona to round out this homestand. They kind of have to win both if they're going to stay in this race. That being said, I have to change boards. Well, St. Louis. So it felt like St. Louis had turned things around. I don't know. This game is alarming for a lot of reasons. I mean, now the teams they're competing with for playoff spots, not all of them did well tonight either, but still. Jones versus Binnington in this one. There's a power play for the Flyers. We then have 55 seconds of 4-on-4. The Blues then get a power play. There's a shorthanded chance for Farabee. He can't bury there. Everything gets killed off. Tippett hits a post. Again, Owen Tippett, very prominent in this game. They're giving him a lot of opportunities, and he looks pretty good as a Flyer. Blues press at 5.5 minutes, and eventually Philly scores. It's Konechny from Connaughton and Hodgson at 6:37. So Hodgson in his first NHL game with an assist. And the shots are 4-0 for the Flyers at the half. So The Blues are getting opportunities, but they're not getting shots on net. Brown would open up the lead to 2-0 for Philadelphia from York and Tippett at 14:51. So there's Tippett on the board and Cam York on the board too. The Blues, 2 minutes left in this period, they only had 2 shots. So, as I've said before, when there's 7 games on, I can have 6 games I'm rotating through on TV, and I'll have 1 on this computer that I'm rotating through as well. And by rotating, I mean just leave it on. So, yeah, this first period, there really wasn't much else to put up here because St. Louis wasn't generating a lot, and when Philly got opportunities, they seemed to be going in. Second period, early power play for the Blues, and they score on it. It's Tarasenko from O'Reilly and Perron at 1:46. Sods then denied on a break, so you could see St. Louis was trying to come back in this. Good back and forth chances at this point in the game. The Flyers get a power play. That's killed off, but Konechny would score to restore the 2-goal lead for Philadelphia from Hayes and York at 12:04. Blues get a power play. That's killed off, but Toropchenko would score from Logan Brown at 16 minutes. And then there's one of these weird incidents. I didn't see a lot of this tonight or over the last few nights, but it was here. Farabee and Mikkola wanted to fight, and the officials just flat out wouldn't allow them to. So we get 4-on-4 instead. The Flyers would get a power play, which started out as a 4-on-3, which is part of the reason why I think letting them fight might be better. Because 5-minute power plays don't have, 5-minute 4-on-4 doesn't happen if there's a fight, but 2 minutes of 4-on-4 does. You're making it easier if then there's a penalty during those 2 minutes for the team that gets the power play to score. 5-on-4 goals, it feels like, are a little more difficult than 4-on-3. But anyways, that doesn't matter in this case. We got 43 seconds of a Flyers power play to start the third because every game seemed to need that tonight, at least early on. Blues finish the kill. Then there's a press by St. Louis at 4 minutes. The shots are 4-2 for St. Louis at 6 minutes. And you could see they wanted this game. They just couldn't figure it out. Press by the Blues at the half, but with his first NHL goal, it's Hodgson from Hayes at 11:34. Then we have too many Blues on the ice. The Flyers get a power play. That was unsuccessful, but it takes 2 more minutes off the clock. Blues pull the goaltender. That allows Farabee to hit the empty net from Van Riemsdyk at 17:20. Philadelphia goes into St. Louis and beats them 5-2. They go to 21-32-11 with the upset victory for St. Louis, 35-19-9 with the loss. And this one hurts because, again, when you see this game on your schedule, you look at that as we must win this one. So your 3 stars in this one are Konechny, Hodgson, who had a goal and an assist. This is his first NHL game, so he's got something to live up to in the next one. And York was the 3rd star, so all 3 of them are Flyers. Shots, 9-4 Philadelphia in the first, 12-11 St. Louis in the second, 12-7 St. Louis in the third. They end up out shooting Philadelphia by final shots of 28-27. Power plays, Philadelphia 0-4. St. Louis 1-3. Hits 22-13 St. Louis. Jones saves 26 out of 28. Binnington saves 22 out of 26. And again, this will not help the argument for Binnington as a playoff goaltender. This is just going to enable those who say, hey, Husso's the better goalie. The stats would tell you right now that is the case, which is both praising of Husso, and it kind of feels like you're pushing Binnington backwards a little bit. All right. Anyways, next up, Minnesota and Vancouver. I will say this. I was very happy to see Vancouver get a point. This is back-to-back, and you could tell that, at points in time in this game, they seem to be a little tired. So we had Demko versus Talbot in this one, and then Shen had a fight with Foligno early on. Horvat would score from Ekman Larson and Besser at 4:13, and 5 minutes into this, the shots are 4-0 Vancouver. They don't stay that way. On the first shot of the game from Minnesota, they score because it's Kaprizov that has the puck. He's the last guy you want to have the puck if you're Vancouver in this. He scores from Hartman at 8:08 on a turnover that was initiated by a iffy pass by Myers. And the Wild had the momentum after tying it. Goligoski has a screenshot that's held. Good forecheck, though, by the Canucks. The Wild crashed the net with 3 minutes left. Shots even up in the second half of the period as Minnesota's getting that momentum going. Pearson can't bury one as they press. We end up with 2 minutes of 4-on-4. But we go to the second period with the score 1-1. And both goalies look pretty sharp early. However, at 1:44, Fiala scores. And it was through Demko in close. And I don't know that Demko had much opportunity on that one. I really don't. He had already made a pretty good save before that. So the shots then are 7-4 for Vancouver at 8:30 as they try to answer. And they were playing pretty well. Canucks press, but they're kept to the outside. The Wild get a power play. That's killed off, and shortly after it ends, Eriksson was denied. Canucks are stuck on 7 shots for a large portion of that time. They would end up getting a power play, though. That's killed off. They did generate opportunities there. But going into the third, they're down 2-1. Third period, shots are 3-0 for the Wild at 3 minutes. Dumba fires a puck at 100.3 miles per hour, and Demko catches it. So good on Demko. Canucks get a power play. It's killed off. Garland has a sharp angle shot that's held. The Canucks go back to the power play, which made Minnesota fans unhappy. And it's Miller scoring on that power play from Hughes and Pettersson at 7:56. So Pettersson with an assist, Miller with a goal. The Wild then get a power play. Vancouver kills that off, to the credit. Wild press with 5.5 minutes left. Fiala has a rush chance that's denied. Hunt's stick decided it was good. Now's a good time to die. So he ends up having to leave the ice, which allows Minnesota to clear the puck. Eriksson Ek has a wraparound that won't go. Myers with a rush chance, that's saved and held. A near miss for Jost with a minute left. And we end up going to overtime. Miller hits the post right away. He hits the post, the puck goes the other way, and it's in the net. And it was on a break. And so it's a situation where Vancouver, they committed to that shot for Miller, and it cost him at the other end. It's Eriksson Ek who just put it around Demko and in from Kaprizov and Brodin at 31 seconds. So your 3 stars in this one, as Minnesota goes to 38-20-4 with the win. Vancouver drops to 31-26-9. But again, I will take the point because that's 3 points out of a possible 4 against Colorado and Minnesota on a very tough road trip. Your 3 stars are Eriksson Ek, Fiala, and Talbot, which again, in an overtime game, I don't like seeing 3 stars from the same team, but I can't really argue with any of them, although Demko had a pretty good game too. Your shots in this one, 10-8 Vancouver in the first, 13-10 Minnesota in the second, 14-8 Minnesota in the third, and then the only shot in the overtime is Minnesota's, the one that counts. 36-28 are the final shots for the Wild. Power plays, Vancouver 1 for 3, Minnesota 0 for 2. The hits, 31-22 for Minnesota. Demko saves 33 out of 36. Talbot saves 26 out of 28. And there you go. Minnesota with an important victory. They pull ahead. I believe that puts them 1 point ahead of St. Louis, 2 points ahead of Nashville. And for Vancouver, they stay in the hunt for the playoffs. But again, they really need to get on a run, and they need teams that are ahead of them to lose, which Dallas did not. And we will get to Vegas after we discuss the Edmonton Oilers at home against San Jose. This was a game that didn't seem to have a lot happening in the first period, other than a pretty good debut for Kakkonen. So it's Kakkonen versus Smith. The shots are 2-1 for the Oilers at 5 minutes. Pretty slow start. Strong first half for the Oilers and for Kakkonen. There's a press by the Oilers with 6 minutes left, and I thought the Sharks had a pretty decent second half of the period. It's scoreless after 1, and again, I'm taking notes when I can, and I realize penalty's over, or penalty, the period's over, and that's it. Second period, Carlson scores early from Hurdle and Meyer at 1:08. The Oilers then get a power play. That was the first power play of the game, so there wasn't any of that in the first period. And Yamamoto scores on it. He scores from McLeod at 4:34. Kane then has a net drive that's saved, and then on a turnover, which upset the San Jose announcers tremendously. They felt there should have been a penalty on the play. Draisaitl scores at 7 minutes and 39 seconds. Smith comes out of the net to play a puck, and then gets back in the net after it's turned over to just deny Meyer just in time. So Smith, pretty normal Mike Smith behavior of coming out of the net, but there were a couple times tonight where it was kind of hair-raising. So the shots are 9-7 for the Oilers at the half. Sharks then get a power play, which was 0 for its last 17 coming into tonight. It doesn't get better. So Bonino has a shot that goes wide. Power play's killed off. McLeod then, before the period's out, he hits a crossbar. So it's 2-1 Edmonton. Could have been worse. Third period, Couture, who had taken a puck to the ribs, I believe it was a Burns shot that he accidentally got in the way of, and it hit him right about here in the chest. And so he exited. He didn't come back to the game, which is a huge blow to San Jose if he misses any length of time. Puljujarvi's denied on a rush. The shots are 4-0 Oilers at 2 minutes. They are not letting this one go. Barabanov fires one high, but he draws a power play on that rush chance. Carlson with a shot. Nice glove save there. Gregor with a chance that's held. There's no screen. It's killed off. Smith looks good. Made 2 pretty good saves during that power play. And then Brassard scores one at 6:49 in his first game with the Oilers. His 10th team overall. He scores that one. It goes in off Erik Karlsson's skate. But it doesn't stay 3-1 for long. Hurdle scores from Meyer at 7:18. So that's 29 seconds later. Makes it 3-2. Draisaitl then has a rush chance that's blocked. The Oilers press with 7.5 minutes left. They end up getting a power play, and they score on it. As Draisaitl from McDavid and Heyman or Hyman, sorry, at 13.55. Get my sports mixed up. Hyman, not Heyman. So, yeah, Gregor then has a chance that's saved and held. The Sharks pull the goaltender down 2. What that does is it allows Evander Kane to get the empty netter against his former teammates from McDavid and Yamamoto at 17-18. Your final score is 5-2 for the Oilers. They really clamped this down. Good game for them. They go to 36-24-5 with the victory. San Jose drops back to NHL 500 at 28-28-8. Your 3 stars are Draisaitl, Brassard, and Hurdle. The shots, 12-7 Edmonton in the first, 15-12 Edmonton in the second, 14-11 Edmonton in the third. Final shots, 41-30. A lot of shots in this game, and Edmonton with the 41. Power plays, San Jose 0 for 2, Edmonton 2 for 2. That's your difference right there in the game. Hits, 33-30 for Edmonton. Kakkonen saves 36 out of 40 in his debut with the Sharks, and Smith saves 28 out of 30. So, entertaining game, yes, for the Oilers. They end up winning a game that will definitely help their chances of finishing as high as second place in their division. All right, next up, Nashville. Right out of the gate, Vegas looked different. Now, this Dodonov guy they just got from Anaheim, he's pretty good. This Dodonov guy, they might want to hang on to him. And I say that as kind of joking, but at the same time, what a difference having him in the lineup makes. So it's Saros versus Thompson in this one, and at 1:31, Vegas scores. It's Janmark from Pietrangelo and Stevenson, and then they look to add another. The shots are 4-0 Vegas at 3 minutes, and this feels like games in the Fortress their first year or second year, when the Fortress was a place teams didn't want to play, and we always had the joke about the Vegas flu. Yossi has a chance that's saved and held. Vegas presses at 6 minutes. Trennan has a net feed that's intercepted. The shots are 13-2 for Vegas with 9 minutes left. And then Nick Roy scores at 13:45. The Preds are being outchanced. The Preds are being outworked. They're not looking like a team that desperately needs a win. And yet, with this result tonight, Nashville's not out of the woods. That's why I said at the start of this, I really think I'm going to have to do updated looks at the race in the West maybe once a week, because what's happened with tonight's games has kind of changed the storyline for a lot of this, and I think it's put Nashville in some peril in terms of being able to get into the playoffs. So Howden is down. He was hit into the boards. He did not return to the game. He's in stable condition. He looks okay. It was a rough hit into the boards. I didn't see anything vicious behind it, though. I don't think player safety gets involved with this. I hope Howden's okay. Just looked like it was one of those accidental things. Preds show some life late. So the Preds definitely woke up late, but they're already down 2-0. Third period, Vegas gets a power play and they score on it. And it's Dodonov that gets the power play going from Marchessault and Stevenson at 3:14. But the Preds get a power play, and to their credit, they score on theirs. It's Forsberg from Yossi and Johansson at 5 minutes. So now Yossi's got a 12-game point streak going. Vegas, though, they go back to the power play, and they score on it again. This is a rarity for Vegas that their power play actually makes the other team pay. It is Eichel from Marchessault and Dodonov at 8:41. So for Dodonov, that's a goal and an assist already. And for the first time in 26 games, Vegas has 2 power play goals in the same game. Shots are 17-4 for Vegas with 7 minutes left. Preds then get a power play. That's killed off. We go to the third period. Shots are 3-1 Vegas at 3 minutes. This is basically done. This is basically over. Vegas presses at 5 minutes. They get a power play. It's killed off. Carrier's denied in close. We get 2 minutes of 4-on-4. Vegas gets a power play, and they score on it. It's Stevenson from Eichel and Marchessault at 14:42. So for Eichel, that was the second point of the game. And then Pietrangelo scores from Roy and Dodonov at 17:07. Vegas wins this one 6-1 in a laugher. Oh yeah, I'm supposed to put up those magnets, aren't I? All right, one sec. I'll use this one. So for your magnet tonight for No Mercy, your Cobra Kai magnet, I'll just use a Quiet, which you'd have to watch Cobra Kai to know what that's in reference to. But that's because people are gonna be like, that's a 5-goal win. Why didn't you put up your No Mercy magnet? Quiet. All right. So 3 stars are Eichel, Dodonov, and Stevenson. Your shots, 15-9 Vegas in the first, 20-14 Vegas in the second, 15-13 Vegas in the third. They end up getting 50 shots. Nashville had 36. Your power plays, Vegas 3 for 5 for Nashville, 1 for 3. Your hits, 46 to 29 for Nashville. Sorrow saved 44 out of 50. Thompson saves 35 out of 36. So, yeah, it was an impressive night. And again, the no mercy, I'll just go with the quiet magnet because it's fine. It's fine. Right? Everybody knows what that means. Sure. All right, we'll move along. Last game of the night, Chicago and the LA Kings. And for Chicago, this is how you play spoiler. So you had Delia versus Quick. LA wearing the Cylon helmets, the silver helmets with their really nice third jerseys. Lizotte has a net drive that's saved. The shots are 4-0 for the Kings at 4 minutes. Chicago played last night. LA didn't. Makes sense that Chicago might be a little bit tired out of the gate. Kings get a power play. Kaliev has a shot that's saved. That's killed off. With 8.5 minutes left, the shots are now 9-1 for LA. So LA's just all over them, but they're not beating Delia, whose dad was in the crowd, not too far from where Delia's bench was. So pretty big night for him. Hawks are stuck on one shot, but then on their fourth shot, they get a goal. It's Kane from DeBrincat and Gustafsson at 16:44. So they only had 5 shots in that period, but one of them goes in, and they have a 1-0 lead thanks to Colin Delia. So second period, the Hawks get a power play. During that, LA scores. It is Moore from Dursey at 2:13 shorthanded. And then the Kings kill off the rest. Kempe then has a blast. It's kicked aside. Hawks go back to the power play. It's killed off, but the Hawks press after. And eventually, DeBrincat scores from Strome at 12:41. And that's his 36th goal of the season. So DeBrincat, absolutely fantastic goal scorer. And Strome has 31 points in his last 32 games. So maybe they're not going to trade him after all. Kings nearly answer. Then there's too many Hawks on the ice. That gives the Kings a power play. And with his 20th goal of the season, first time in his career he's done that, Philippe Danault scores from Kopitar and Dursey at 16:50. But Lafferty would restore the lead. Lafferty, where's he come from? Radish and Seth Jones with the assists at 18:09. Nice setup by Taylor Radish as he continues to impress in Chicago. Lafferty then nearly scores again after that. So coming out of that second period, it's 3-2 for Chicago. And they look ready to steal one because their goaltender has been saving things. They're outshot 31-16 after 2 periods, and they're ahead. Third period. Hawks 16-2-3 when they're leading after 2 periods. That's thrown up there, so I thought I'd put it on the board. Radish is denied on a rush early. The Hawks get a power play. That's killed off. Kane's denied. Hawks press from that. The Kings would have a press of their own at 6.5 minutes. Reese Johnson is then denied. Absolutely robbed by Quick as they press back. And then Danault ties the game. He gets his 21st goal from Arvidsson and Dursey at 9:07. So Dursey with a couple of helpers. The Kings then press with 5.5 minutes left. DeBrincat's denied on a rush. 1 minute left. Quick made some really nice saves in order to preserve the tie and send it into overtime. In the overtime, the Hawks control in the faceoff. Seth Jones is denied, but the Hawks keep it. There's another save on Seth Jones after that. Danault then has a chance that's saved. And with 27.9 seconds left, the Kings have a too many men on the ice call. So they don't see any result from that. We end up going to a shootout instead. And in the shootout, it's DeBrincat that gets the winner. So Chicago goes into LA and they win 4-3 in overtime. They go to 24-32-9. LA 35-22-9 with the overtime loss. So the 3 stars were not on the app at the time that I'm getting ready to do this video. It's not the first time with LA, and sometimes it takes a while for the 3 stars to populate. So my 3 stars for the game, I went with DeBrincat for the first star because he gets the goal here and he gets the shootout winner. I went with Delia because he gets his first win of the year in LA and he played really, really well. And I gave Danault the 3rd star because he gets 2 goals in the game. He's hit 20 goals for the first time in his career. And then his 3 guys whose last names start with D. Totally coincidental. Because I really do think those are your 3 stars of the game. I don't know how that's going to match up with who the actual stars of the game are. So your shots, 12-5 LA in the first, 19-11 LA in the second, 13-12 LA in the third, and in the overtime, 3-2 for Chicago. Final shots, 46-31 for the Kings. Power plays, Chicago 0-4, LA 1-2. The hits, 35-16 in favor of Chicago. Delia saves 43 out of 46. He was fantastic. So was Quick. 28 saves on 31 shots for Quick. Not too shabby. And there you go. You guys are all caught up on tonight's games. Let me know what you think about any of the games that took place tonight. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.